was lost, but Jesus found me, found the sheep that went astray. Through his loving arms around me, drew me back into his way.
Yes, I'll sing.
Yes, I'll sing.
The wondrous story
of the Christ
who died for me.
who died for me.
Yes, God bless you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We welcome you, sir. Thank you. We are grateful to God for the privilege of having this meeting. The previous session is pouring out into what we ought to be doing here. The role of churches and denominations in the mission, the execution of the calling and the Great Commission as we have it. When Bro Gideon, Uncle Gideon as we call you, sir, when he was talking about the role of the school ministries and in the mission enterprise, incidentally, I'm one of those that came out from there. I gave my life to Christ in the campus, in the FCS, and eventually served as an FCS president, and then to NCCF and all. And for us, when we have meetings together, the students' platforms, NIFES, FCS, and different platforms, some things ring out in terms of mission. We find many young people talking about the passion for mission, that for them it got ignited within those non-denominational campus or school fellowships, either in secondary school or in the high institution. So they say the passion was from there. And the question sometimes we ask, or at those times, which are still valid questions now, they say that these things they are doing at those moments, they feel they may not be sustained when it gets back into their individual churches. And the three things many times we talk about is, one, the passion. Can the churches sustain the passion if it's ignited outside, or can it be ignited within the churches? Two, the platform. They say, okay, even if they have this understanding of missions, as some mission drives happen within the campuses or in secondary schools, that when they get back to the churches, their individual denominations, the platform is not there. The passion is there, the platform is not there. Then others say, even when the platform is there, they say the composition that they enjoy in the campuses, the multiculturality, the interdenominationality, they say that composition again is lacking. So we'll come back, you find that the participation is within the corridors of a particular denomination alone. Now, these statements are not indicting us, they are not accusations, but somebody said that a position that is undeclared is not a position. So if the young people are saying this, and you representing the heads of the denomination, you may be saying these things are not like that, we are doing it in our churches. This is an opportunity for you to tell us and the young people who are following us online, so that they can have hope and know that Africa can really become the force through the churches. That is why we are here, sirs. And if I may start from my right, there incidentally is because of your sitting position. We ask our brother from the Presbyterian Church, can somebody who has a mind for missions have these three things particularly and even beyond happening for him within the Presbyterian Church? Passion for mission, platform for the mission, participation with other missionaries.
Praise the Lord. I am Reverend Ime Ekanem, the National Director of Mission of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, covering the whole Nigeria and also some part of West Africa. Yeah, I have heard you. I hope passion for mission. I have presented a paper about 2 times. The last one was last month in Recharge Conference here in Abuja, Karuki. Yeah, passion for mission. Yeah, there are things that we need to do. The role that denomination, especially Presbyterian Church, should do. Number one thing that I feel that we should do, there must be a collaboration with all the mission directors. It may interest you to know that till now, it is only this conference that I got to know the director of mission in Anglican. It is only in this conference that I was able to know the director of mission in Ekwa. So there must be a collaborative effort whereby we need to have association of directors of our missions, whereby we can gather as from time to time we have a teaching of winning souls in different parts of Nigeria. It is very key. This is very key. Of course, I started calling them that after this event, we are going to form a platform so that we can also meet. And I also met with a trainer from Jos here, outside there, that this is what we are going to do after this event. So we need to do that. Secondly, it should be intentional budget for all the denomination. Our budget for mission is minimal. We can never budget and build a gigantic structure, then souls. We don't have a minimal budget. So I hope with the primate calling this meeting is an avenue to also reach out to all the head of churches. Let us ensure that we have a good budgetary provision for mission in our various churches. And that is what I'm talking with my prelate of my church, which is doing well. That we increase our budget from the percentage we used to a greater percentage. It will help us a lot if we do that. Thirdly, as Presbyterian, what we are trying to do is that, you know, the theological training is quite different from what is in the field. What the Board of Mission is doing in my church, we just finished evaluation on Tuesday across the country. Of course, they are sending the parcel to our office there, that after this conference we start to evaluate for licensing. Now, when you get to, we studied theology in the school. After that, what is obtainable in the field is quite different from what is in the college. The college is a foundation. So there's what we are doing in Presbyterian Church. Soon after the training, Board of Education, after training our missionary. Now, my department, Board of Mission, will now do what they call practical training. Part of the topic will be expectation of a missionary in the field. We need to tell them what are the expectations, cultural barriers, all those things we need to train them. So the churches, like what Presbyterian Church is doing, we need to take that into consideration after the theological. Don't just send missionary outside because of theological training. You can't get the result. After that, there must be a practical training, the expectation of missionary in the field. This is very key. The next rule is that the language matter. In fact, in Presbyterian Church of Nigeria now, we have a Bible college in Abuja. The Bible college in Abuja specifically training Northern Indigenous. We don't train any other because of language barrier. We train only Northern Indigenous. We have other theological colleges, but Bible college in Abuja solely train indigenous in the north. We send them to Merogri. We send them. In fact, as I'm talking to you, for the first time, this leadership of the present leadership is eminent. Reverend Dr. Ekbenyo Okpaneka. We have gotten the first Fulani indigene to be a missionary in our church. We have gotten them. In fact, last week before His Eminence moved to UK, we were in Abuja. He had presented to His Eminence. We have gotten some indigene of Merogri. We have gotten some indigene of Karuna here. Some of them have been trained from this school. So we then send them forth. So this is very, very key because language matters so much. They know the terrain, they know the culture. So that's what the Presbyterian Church is trying to do to reach out. In the western part of Nigeria, we have gone for a survey in Ibadan. In Ibadan, we want to open a new theological Bible college to take care of the western part of Nigeria. That is what we are doing. So that everything, so the churches within Nigeria should take language into consideration. Then train indigenous, like what we are trying to do. Presbyterian Church also, we have a church in Mali. In fact, I am about launching a new church in Côte d'Ivoire. We are about launching a new church in Côte d'Ivoire. We have in Benin Republic, we have in Togo. Now we are also planning to have a theological Bible college in that axis to take care of the French-speaking countries. That is the role that we need to, where the churches need to play. It's very, very vital. It's very, very vital. We need to do that. Then another aspect of it is that we need to try to see that missionaries surrender their life to Christ. You can never give what you don't have. You can never. If you carry somebody with a flesh will manifest there. The missionary that we are sending out must surrender his or her life to Christ. Let me end there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So much. By the grace of God, things that are happening within the Presbyterian Church, we are grateful. We'll still come back to you if time allows us. We will come to our father from the EYN Church. Sir.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. And I just arrived today. Unfortunately, I missed the early session. So usually in our context, we say when you are new in an environment, sometimes you will have to keep your leg 1 foot up so that you wouldn't put the both feet and then end up messing up the whole thing. But I was expecting to see other denominational leaders here, not representative, because His Eminence has, of course, contacted all of us as denominational leaders that were invited to be here. And while the invitation was extended with a clear questions that we needed to discuss before us, one of it was the role of denominational leaders and denominations. And let me just very quickly just try to change a little bit of a stereotype. A lot of times denominational leaders and heads are being misunderstood somehow because the administrative structures of denominations have grown, and sometimes they got a little bit so much overwhelmed by administrative aspects. And at times, a lot, the thought is they are not mission-minded. Or probably they aren't really working as missionaries or evangelists. But let me say this, that at every core of every denomination, one thing that is critical is the Great Commission. A church that does not make the Great Commission at its core value has lost its identity as a church. And for EYN, the mission, right from the time that we received the gospel through our mission partners, that's the Church of the Brethren in the US, mission and evangelism is at its center. And now the challenge that had been for us as leaders over time had been to have a missional lifestyle. And a missional lifestyle should be lived out by the heads of the churches. And what it means then is this, is that as a head of the denomination, making policies, sending missionaries or evangelists is just one step. But your life as the head, as the leader, needed to be seen practically as a person advancing the cause of the gospel. Now, how do we do that? I was invited here. I just returned back from Germany and Switzerland. I went to the headquarters of the EYN in Mubi just on Monday. And I had a function somewhere yesterday. I had to fly in today because to give relevance to what the core value of the church is, and that is mission and evangelism. So, what is expected of us as denominational leaders to change the narrative for those that are thinking that the church doesn't have the passion, because the passion of the leader is contagious, obviously. So, a lot of time, if the passion of the leader is not practically demonstrated in what he does in the aspect of missions and evangelism, the assumption then will be the church doesn't have the passion for missions. So what EYN normally do is this, that the leader of the church does not only send the director of evangelism or send missionaries for mission conferences and programs. The president himself has to be there to show that he is also accompanying the missionaries and the evangelists. We recently concluded last week the New Life for All International Conference for Evangelists. The president of UN had to be there to show that it is not only making policies and sending missionaries, but being there yourself as an evangelist. So what we do in the church is that leaders are first evangelists and first missionaries before being leaders. And I think this is very critical for all of us. The second point is, if our members and our children get themselves into schools and are members of the FCS, AFCS and that, when they come home, do they have the platform through which they will then exercise the gift God has called them to either serve as missionaries or evangelists? The church has always tried in all it can to create an enabling environment of training and retraining missionaries and evangelists who are willing. And what we normally do also is to emphasize that in our Sunday schools, emphasis on the Great Commission is being made right at the Sunday school, so that the children will grow with the knowledge that they are missionaries. They are indeed called as Christians to share the gospel to others. So right at the Sunday school and every arm of the church, emphasis is being made consistently on the aspect of missions and evangelism, so that we will have people who are indeed passionate and having the enabling environment to operate. In matter of collaboration, it is very critical. And in my preaching, in fact, in my teaching I did at the International Conference of Evangelists by the New Life for All, I stated that no denomination can win this battle alone. We have to collaborate. We have to work as a team. And I gave an illustration. And I said, the lion is regarded as the king of the jungle. Not because it's too big in comparison to the elephant, but of course because it has gathered itself some kind of traits that made him the king. But there was a story that was told that one day the lion went alone and was attacked by hyenas and was killed by hyenas. Not because the hyenas were too powerful, but because the hyenas were working as a team. And I said, all churches across, denominationalism should be killed at such a time like this. Because if we don't unite and work as a team, we will never succeed in this battle. And we should look at missions and evangelism as a collective venture by all of us, regardless of whichever beliefs you have. I will close quickly by making a very sad story. 2014, 2015, 2016, EYN was passing through its hardest moment that nearly made the church to cease to exist. At that time, EYN had 50 district church councils. Out of 50 district church councils, 43 were all displaced. We were left with only 7 district church councils that survived, that were not directly affected by the activities of Boko Haram. And I said, sadly, at that very critical time, there are only probably about 2 denominations that identified with EYN. Only 2. So sadly. And worse of it, there were theologians and preachers and denominational heads that even said, EYN is because of your sin. Repent, or else you will all finish. And I said, so long as we continue like that, we will never succeed in this common goal. So I'm so delighted to be here for one fact that this is a forum that we will move beyond denomination and form a coalition of missionaries and preachers sponsored by all of us to advance the cause of the gospel. Not to plant Anglican or ECWA or that, but to win souls for the kingdom. And that's our mission.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. May the Lord himself continue to grant us a deeper understanding. While we're reflecting on what he said, I think it was sometime last year or 2 years ago, that there was this joint, there was so much noise being generated within the churches, particularly within the Pentecostal churches. I'm not saying just them alone, on the issue of a media person that attacked the churches on payment of tithes. And we're with young people, when some of the young people asked some of us and said, why are voices being raised because somebody is challenging members paying tithes, and all together people attacked that person? And they say specifically while EYN was nearly wiped out in the Northeast and there was no voice. Brethren, it's a matter for us to take note that what he mentioned was raised to some of us by students in the campus. They said, why was this challenge not done when EYN was nearly wiped out in the Northeast? May the Lord himself grant us that grace, that the young people will believe in the church again. Thank you, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you. My name is Bishop Benjamin from the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria. We are neighbors with EYN and my president here. I am not the head of the Lutheran Church of Christ of Nigeria, but my archbishop is out of the country. Was asked to stand in. We share the same story with the EYN, but the reason why I accepted to be on this show, because I know the mind of my archbishop. He is missional minded, and if he had been around, he would have been here. Just as we know, the Great Commission is our core value, and that is why we are all here. And as a church, as Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, we have a song that says, it's in Hausa, if you cannot go, the money you contribute will go. So it's something that as a church, as a Lutheran church, we try to make sure that our members are missional minded. Well, I really appreciate the first contributor, the speaker, about bringing together the mission directors or mission coordinators of the denominations. This will really help. And this conference is an eye-opener, and also is a forum that will bring us together and to bury our denominational differences, or what makes us to hold back, instead of focusing on what we are called to do. Jesus called us to take the gospel to all nations. We are so much, as denominational leaders, most of the time, they are so much buried in their church activities. Things outside like this doesn't so much concern them. And I want to appeal and say that we should bury that, because we have a call, a mandate from our Lord Jesus Christ to preach the gospel. And the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, we want to do that, and we want to make sure that our members key into it. About the participation of the young people, and that is an important thing for the church, because the church today, if we ignore the youth, if we leave out the youth, there will be no future church. And I understand and I really appreciate the concern of the youth, and our church is mindful of that. And that is why most of our councils, what we do, and most especially in mission area, we try to encourage, make sure that the youth participate and are part of it, and it's something that they would want to do. And the church of today needs the young people. With all the challenges we're facing, just as you have heard from the president of the EYN, the same thing, some part of our churches are affected. We need young people to key in and also to give themselves to do this work. So I really appreciate this conference, and it's an eye-opener, and LCCN will surely make sure that we do what the Lord has commanded us to do, and not concerned about denominational ties that will make us not to fulfill the mandate that Jesus Christ has called us to do.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I will turn to this side and call upon Dr. Benga at this moment. Okay, there's the mic.
I want to also say thanks to God for the privilege to be here. Thanking God for the burden that has brought this meeting about. I know that there are three particular things that are stressed from what our moderator stated. But before that, maybe I want to first, maybe almost make a request. Two people have talked about missions directors. Maybe because he's a mission director. But I'm a denominational head, and I would desire that denominational heads also could have a forum of this nature, such that we don't necessarily have to be gathered together, but we can keep having interaction. Because if we rub with each other in ideas, even in burdens, in what is going on with me, taking place with you, I think that would be an advancement in the cause of Christ's cause in our hands. Maybe that's the first thing I would love to maybe table. The matter of, because if I understand what the moderator really raised, the role of denominations in the matter of missions, and particularly when students have gone to school, maybe away from under our watch, and they've caught passion, and they get back, and it looks as if there is no atmosphere to support and sustain that passion which they have. And I know that denominational heads, denominations generally, we have much to do in that regard. But it will be in two sides. I want to take a look at it. One is that as denominations, leaders particularly, we need to have, can I say, a peep into the burden that these students are carrying, the passion that they are coming back with. Incidentally, not many might have had that taste among the denominational leaders. When Uncle Gideon was speaking the other time, he mentioned even the primate, he mentioned our chairman for this planning, and quite a number of others. It may be easier for such to be able to blend with the passion that students return with. But not every leader had that access, had that opportunity. And so the first thing I think that the leaders will need to be armed with is an understanding of the passion with which the students are returning. They have gone away from us, they have mixed with very many. And they may be a bit variant, even in perspective. Variant, even in outlook, even to ministry, even to church. While that is not a thing to fuel, to fertilize, but we will need to have that understanding that that may be the point from which they are returning, they are coming back. And when we understand that, we also need to see God help us to educate. In fact, the word I want to use is to institutionalize them into our denomination. if they get institutionalized, maybe second baptism, if I would say, back to church, because if they are to work here, they will still need to understand and relate accordingly. So I see it in two sides, that the denominational leaders' hearts be opened to be able to know that they may have some variance to our outlook. But then to also have a readiness on our side to instruct, to tutor, to train. But maybe, since the youths are not here, I will have also want to counsel that the youths also should not assume that they have everything. They don't know it all yet. The people they are coming to meet, they have traveled this road for a long time. And maybe that's the first thing I want to say as regards the matter of passion. When it comes to the issue of platform, I'm not talking specifically to my own denomination, but I would want to say that as denominational leaders, we should provide a platform. I've had interaction with youth of our church, and some of the things they said is that when we are beginning to do some few things, even the pastors, seemingly maybe because of, I don't know, maybe fear, wants to repress, wants to push aside, doesn't give sufficient cooperation. And I think that's something that as leaders, we need to pass down, even to our pastors, that when they come, let us give room, let us give space. The energized youth needs a platform. If he doesn't have that platform, two options is that he may bolt out and go and do something that may not even be very edifying. So we need to see a creation of space for them, and that we should arm our minds with, because one thing about the work of missions, because we are stressing on youth now, actually because I feel that they are the ones that have this baton in their hands. While it is not that we are being sacked, gray hairs on our head doesn't say that we are not still fit for the fields. But the truth is that the ones that have the baton in their hands are the young ones. Even in history, advancing mission has been at the hands of the young ones. It's not elderly many times. If there is a categorization, a fractioning, maybe 10% elderly, 90% of workforce to advance missions course are youths. And I know history can give us very many names. Even Bible. All the disciples of Jesus, I don't think they were that older than Jesus himself. And they were the ones that carried the message global-wise. And so they are the ones to have this baton, and we need to have our minds ready to take them in, provide platform for them. There are excesses that at times might be exhibited, which is normal with youths. Our own duty is to contain it and to curtail it. So if we don't contain it, we won't have any space, any room to be able to really streamline it. So the platforms need be provided. And the thought that has to do with the participation, which extends to the matter of collaborating, because they are not used to just homogeneous, so to say, kind of a group, of an assembly. NIFES, for instance, Scripture Union FCS, they are from very many denominations. And that has affected them. But that's why I'm seeing a glorious beauty in this kind of a forum. That if we say a leader of the church called a meeting and very many other leaders are responding, that is mercy. And I think we should be grateful to God that is making that possible. So that when that forges further, it will also run down it will not be limited to the heads of the churches. It will get on to even the youths we are talking about. They will know that EYN and Primate of Anglican, they are friends. So when they come back with whatever driving force, they know that it's not going to die here. Even if it has to be in Anglican platform, if it has to be in equitable, he knows that he has a sameness of mind from the leaders to run on with. And I feel that that would be a great help to us. I see that as what denominational leaders actually should be driving at and pursuing, so as to be able to move to where I perceive God is really wanting us to go as a church in Africa. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Benga Odebiridas, the president from the UMCA, and we are really very grateful for some of those depths of insight that you have brought out. We'll still continue. We're still hearing. Our father is representing the ECWA. You've been in the previous plenary session. You actually raised something that we used to bridge that session and this one. And we also want to hear if many of the young people, and not just the young people, people from ECWA are also watching this all over. Is there hope for mission that side?
Thank you, Venerable Justin. Let me just also say that Dr. Olu Benga and I were student leaders about the same time. I would never have imagined that at this time he will be president of the church denomination, that's UMCA. And I'm not a denominational leader. Let me issue that disclaimer. But I serve as secretary to the denominational leaders on the plateau. And because of Lausanne, I do a lot of work with denominational leaders, not just in Nigeria, but all over Africa. ECWA president sent a very unreserved apology to the convener. So also co-king president, ECWA president Dr. Job Bagat, their church denominations pastors gathering is taking place right now. Co-king president Church of Christ in Nations couldn't come because he's out on a function. But in terms of their spirit, their willingness to be part of this initiative, they are here. So I just wanted to convey their apologies to you, sir, and to the rest. Now, I need to say this, but in a very modest way. I think one of the oldest churches in Nigeria that has pushed very strongly for missions, and they're also mobilizing the young people to be involved in missions, is ECWA. I'm only saying this so that we can all learn from one another. So one of the things ECWA president passed on to me for this meeting through the EMS director is that ECWA actually right now has about 2,508 missionaries spread in 20 different countries around the world. That's ECWA. Somehow ECWA has managed to get some of their young people, including graduates, to serve as missionaries, both in Africa and outside. I think it's something that we need to chat with them, find out their secret, and see how through this collaboration and partnership we can work together with ECWA. So having said that, I will just highlight three things. If it is possible, coming out of this meeting, is for us to create mission platforms for denominational leaders. The primate of the Anglican Church has started it. I think it's to now use this meeting as a launching path for that to become an active present in the life of the church in our nation. It's an amazing miracle to have all these denominational leaders present here. And to also have the representative of the CAN national president here, or CAN president here. I think if this suggestion goes to CAN in a positive way, it may help the mission of the church in our country. Second, is to suggest that we, because I can speak to the youths, but I'm talking about the kind of things that will help the youths answer some of those concerns that they're asking. Two, is for us to have a bold vision to attempt hosting a church pan-Nigerian missions conference that is interdenominational. So it's a lot of work for the primate, our primate, together with some of these denominational leaders who are seated here. How can, I know the Anglican Church organizes what you call the Joshua Generation Conference. And how do we then expand that and make it a church pan-Nigerian missions conference? In other words, in that missions conference, it's not just the Anglicans, but all the denominations who are represented here and beyond, to actually send in delegate members to be part of it. If they connect together, it will answer some of the questions that you've highlighted. Now, there's something so unique about interdenominational fellowship that you can never get in a denominational fellowship. So that's what I hope what we're doing would help to push us in that direction. And then three, again, let's courageously hold joint short-term missionary exposures in country, that is within Nigeria. In other words, okay, the General Secretary of Uganda Fellowship of Christian Unions last weekend and now, they're actually meeting somewhere in Uganda for missionary activities, missions activities, right now. The leader of the Tanzanian Fellowship of Evangelical Students, they're planning a nationwide missions outreach, short-term, within Tanzania. So what I'm thinking in suggesting this is, and thank God that it's not only church leaders who are here, there are student leaders who are here. The National Director of FCS is here, Philip Babarinde. The National Director of Scripture Union is also here. That is significant. And I think NIFES is represented, but the national leaders are here and others. SCM is also represented here, one of their leaders at the back. So honestly, to me, this is a Kairos moment. I said it before, I'm just restating it. I think that working together to promote a collaborative partnership between the churches and the student movements, it can help us to achieve three. In organizing this short-term joint missionary exposure within Nigeria. So when we're able to bring students from different churches together to connect in the mission field, it will serve as a major catalytic movement that will transform the missionary commitment of the church in Nigeria and by implication, Africa. So I'm hoping that we take some action steps that will give us a Christ-centered results. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We want to also hear from the representative of the Baptist Convention. We are grateful to God for Reverend Dr. Femi Adewumi.
I bring the apology of our president, Reverend Dr. Israel Delania Kanji. He would have loved to be here personally, but he's in the Northeast now for an urgent peace-making and fence-mending mission, which he did not pray for nor plan for, but so that the work of the Lord has to continue, he has to be there. And that's why he has asked me to stand in for him. I'm Femi Adewumi by name. I'm the mission director of the Nigerian Baptist Convention. We thank God for our father, the convener of this conference. We believe God has brought you to this position because of your heart. It's been like that. Our path crossed about 30 years ago. That time my wife and I were serving as missionaries among the Fulanis in the Northeast. Baba will leave Gombe to come and visit with us, to pray with us, to encourage us. We are not Anglican, no, we are Baptist. He visited us at least 3 times. So it's been like that. He doesn't relate with you because you are not an Anglican. He wants all the churches to be one. Concerning what you asked us to address, passion formation, platform formation, participation with other churches and denomination. The Nigerian Baptist, every Nigerian Baptist is mission prioritized. Right from the time we are little children, and I passed through it too, we have what we call the sunbeam, that they do like Sunday school for you, you pass through that. And right from that time, they're teaching you about mission. You listen to stories about missionaries. It's been planted in our heart. We have 2 major groups: men, missionary union for men, women missionary union for women. All men are members. All women are members. So that is part of Baptist. And we have various groups among the boys, girls, as they're growing up, everything, teaching them, in fact, sending them for mission trip, sponsored by the church. So that has been part of Nigerian Baptist. Among students, we have what we call Baptist Student Fellowship. We have secondary school and higher institutions. It's through Baptist Student Fellowship that I can say I was sent to the mission field. We had a program that all of us who are Nigerians know about youth service. As you're preparing to go for youth service program at the Baptist Fellowship, a student fellowship forum, they will make an announcement. Those who want to use their youth service year to serve as missionaries. That's known to us, it's not known to the government. So right from the time you were in school, that would have been planned. Once you are posted, you are using your 1 year service to serve as a missionary. That's how I got to the North. In fact, my first time in the North was through Baptist student, through youth service. So I graduated 37 years ago, 1988, as a veterinary doctor. So my own is go and serve among the Fulanis using the veterinary medicine training to make friends with them so that we can lead them to Christ and we can start a church among them. So we have such a program, and that has turned out to be a blessing. Yeah, even years after we've left the field, my wife and I and our children, we still visit our Fulanis every Christmas. We lived with them for almost 3 decades. They didn't kill us. I was treating the animals are giving birth, they are having more milk that their wives will sell, they are getting bigger. How will they kill me? And with my presence there, other Christians, other Baptists who are human doctors too, we come, or human medics, nurses, pharmacists, they come, we do weekend outreach, they treat them free. How will they kill us? Those who are engineers, we come, they sink well for them, because Baba, you've been there, they have problem with, those of you who are in the north, you know that. They have problem with water. So if you can sink borehole for them, how will you sink borehole for them and they will kill you? So all those through human needs ministry, we do that. And we believe we can still build on that. We have to work together. I want to round up by giving us one challenge. You see, as Christians, we don't have to join the public discourse and be talking like others. We must see beyond what they are saying. We must talk like Christians, we must talk like missionaries. Have you ever considered why God has not allowed Nigeria to break? Check from history. Liberia, we got to know, has the longest history of civil rule or democracy in Africa. What caused problem in Liberia? Rice. Go and find out. When the price went up and they could not afford it, that's when, though there was trouble all over the town, though a sergeant came out, entered the palace, killed Tobert, the president, stabbed him, even with a knife. And since then, Liberia has not been what it used to be. What has not happened in Nigeria? 30 months of civil war, fuel crisis, June 12 annulment, petrol crisis. Mention it. What has not happened in Nigeria? Why is God still keeping us together? Our population is a force. One of the speakers said it during the morning session. With our population, you see, in West Africa, we have 16 countries. With our population, for every 5 people in West Africa, 2 are Nigerians. It's 2, it's not 2. 2 are Nigerians. With our population, for every 5 people in Africa or 56 countries, 2 are Nigerians. Oh, Yeah, we are 20%. One is a Nigerian. We are 20% of African population. With our present population and the present world's population, for every 100 people in the world, one is a Nigerian. If Christians in Nigeria, as we've been told in the morning, we are about 20% of African population, that's Nigeria. We are 15% of the population. Christians, we are 15% of the population of, I think it said Christians in Africa. We are 15%. If Christians in Nigeria can get it right, God can use us to evangelize the whole world. We thank God for bringing this into reality. We thank our Father, the convener. Please, let's oil this marriage and let's keep it up. The Lord will help us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All eyes appear to be on Nigeria for the things that the Lord has done. Population projections say that by 2050, Nigeria will be the second most populous nation in the world. Second, after India. The way we are going, the third most populous nation in the world. Third, after India and China. So, yeah. So if that will be, sir, we come to you representing the CAN chairman. Can this youth population, they will be the ones in that 2050, can they go with this mission that our fathers, like our father, the primate, and all others have laid a template? What is the role of denominational leaders? And what can you say from the point of CAN?
Thank you very much. I have the privilege of representing the CAN president, who is right now out of the country and has had conversations with the primate and agreed that he will send a representation because of the value and the importance he has attached to this meeting today. And that's why he sent me as a spare tire to come and stand in for him. No, I retired from my church recently from full-time ministry, and God gave me another ministry which is called spare tire ministry. So I'm enjoying the ministry so much. It's almost better than the original one. He is so passionate about the theme and the topic that he was given to be the focal point of this conversation: the role of denominational leaders in world missions. And because of that passion, he didn't want me to speak out of away from his mind. And therefore, he had to send me a script, which I would take permission to read his script, because in my place they say that a messenger does not speak in proverbs. So I don't make the mistake to speak proverb as a messenger. So permit me to allow you to read the concluding part of the script he sent to me to present in this meeting, so that you can hear the voice of the CAN president directly. He said, "Beloved sisters and brothers," that is the concluding part of this message. The Apostle Paul's words resonate today in this conference, as he said in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 9, "For we are laborers together with God." And that the New Testament church was unified in its mission, even amidst their structural and doctrinal teething issues. The role of denominational leader
in world mission is not simply to lead a denomination, but to transcend it for the sake of the global harvest. We are called to be vision casters. That is, constantly, denominational leaders must constantly remind the people of the Great Commission. We are called to be bridge builders so that we can be forging unity and partnerships across Christian landscape, some of which have already been emphasized here. We are called to be resource stewards, managing God's provision with integrity and strategic intent for a good result. We are called to be global advocates so that we can speak up for the unreached and the persecuted. We are called to be koinonia promoters so that we can build strong partnership and fellowships between the church and missionaries. Creating a global missions culture must be a deliberate act of leadership, discipleship, and obedience. It requires church leaders to consistently preach the missionary nature of God, model a global worldview, strategically integrate missions into all areas of church life, and commit to long-term relational partnerships. By prioritizing this culture, the local church transforms from a mere local gathering into a vital, mobilized force for the fulfillment of the Great Commission, ensuring that the gospel is proclaimed and disciples are made to the ends of the earth. Let us leave this Congress with a renewed commitment to dismantle the walls that divide us and embrace the unified mission that defines us. Let our legacy be one of strategic, coordinated action that sees the whole gospel taken to the whole world. Let us remember always that we are called as leaders to preach nothing else than Christ crucified, according to 1 Corinthians 1:23 and 24. Even when it is offensive to our members, is conscious of the fact that even our members run after other things more than the message of Christ crucified. Even when it sounds foolish to unbelievers, we must give priority to calling people to seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness first, as the Lord commanded us to do in Matthew 6:33. The time is now. May God grant us the grace and courage to fulfill this sacred trust. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Camp President.
So if you now ask me my opinion, I will give you my own.
Okay, and I will. We are very grateful to God for these moments that we have had. Sorry we didn't have the privilege of having the kind of time that was budgeted out because we lost some time having lunch. But still, the primate has permitted that we take a few questions by the grace of God. So we're still going to do that very quickly. If you have a few questions, just maybe we'll see what time will allow us, one or two. Let's just write them down and pass them on to the ushers, and then they will bring them over. While that is happening, I will actually direct another question, the first question maybe here, onto the representative of the CAN president. Still talking on the trust deficit now that is growing between the young people who will be the ones holding the banner of the church in the next 50 years, if we say. They are the ones right now that we are talking about in some of the things that have been addressed. And the trust deficit that for them, if you meet with their meetings, if you come on those platforms and you talk about CAN, the response they have is they see it as something that is way, way, way out there, that doesn't represent the interest of the church. That doesn't mean CAN does not represent the interest of the church. But they look at things happening in the northeast, things happening in the middle belt, Benue, Kogi, these areas. These are not just mountainous shelter belts, they are gospel shelter belts. The highest concentration of minority tribes is in those shelter belts, and these minority tribes resisted the advent of Islam, and they said, can we sit watching while these populations are being deliberately decimated and destroyed, and the church presence extinguished within the public presence, within the public space? Please, what assurance can you give that missions will not be killed in the north from the platform of CAN?
It is indeed true that there is a trust deficit between the leaders and the led generally, and maybe even in a worse dimension with the younger people. And I believe that we have not done enough to come down to the level of the younger people to engage them the way we should. So for me, it's a challenge that we, the church leaders, must take up to get closer, to listen more. We are not listening to the young people enough. And sometimes we are judgmental, sometimes we are quick to condemn them, and when we don't know the language they're speaking. It is important that church leaders will get closer, much closer, become part of them in a way, and listen more to them and understand their feelings, and come down to the level that we can bring them up to where we want them to be. After all, our own God condescended to our level to help us receive redemption. If we want to redeem our young people, we have to condescend to their level, to listen to them, to bring them to the level they should be.
Thank you so much. I know if you had more time, you would still have unpacked, but please pardon us. We are working within a limited time frame, and we have some questions that have been directed. Particularly, we have a question that has been directed to the representative from the Baptist. Please, would you take that question?
Someone is asking about someone who doesn't have education or skill to serve. Actually, what we've been doing in Nigerian Baptist, let me put it that way, because I've been mission director since almost 9.5 years. What we've been doing is encouraging our missionaries and those of our staff on the field to follow the system of Jesus Christ, to walk among the Muslim core groups. And what is the system of Jesus Christ? Loving relationship, loving friendship, loving proclamation. Look at their needs. Use that to make friends with them. And as you're meeting their needs, then you look for opportunity to share the message with them. I tell you, with all that is happening in Nigeria, all this terrorism, we've not lost any of our missionary or staff who is working on the field. The only one we've lost was not in the north, was in the southeast. And it's because of these people, they saw him as a northerner, and killing him will be fighting the north. I think that's just it. There is no one that doesn't have any skill. You know what I said? You don't work in isolation. You are representing a church. You have the church behind you. You are to just be the contact person As you are there, your church members can come and visit you. Out of those who come to visit you, they have skills that they can use to help these people. So you are like the John the Baptist that is leading the way. My wife did not use her training in the university to work on the field. As I was working among the Fulanis using veterinary medical skill, she's working among their women, teaching them how to cook good food for their children. She studied physics in the university. Physics doesn't have anything to do with cooking food for babies. Because they say, how are your own children big and healthy like this? She's teaching them how to make Tom Brown. And when they started giving Tom Brown to their children, they see how they are doing, they love her. She's going to them in the evening, helping them to do household chores. So to make friends with them. So there are many things we can use, but look for opportunities to make friends with them. And as you become their friends, God will guide you on how to share the gospel.
Let's look for opportunities. May God open our eyes to see those opportunities in the name of Jesus. We have a question that is directed, and our Father will take it from... Yes, sir. Please go.
The question says, usually, when denominational leaders meet, they speak nicely and talk sweetly about the need to work together. But when they go back, they continue to speak evil against one another. The first question then is, why is this so? And the second question is, what assistance do we have that this will be different? Or what assurance do we have that this will be different going forward? Faith. Maybe that's the assurance that we have, that this will be different going forward. I think first and foremost we should address our hearts. See, when we say we are a body of Christ, that is what we are. Leaders or lower leaders, every leader, even members, we are members of the same body. And I think it is to the extent that that is understood that we can work together. In fact, I felt like saying an apology on behalf of the church. Private, you maybe want to say that to EYN for that statement which he made, that it was as if it didn't concern us, which is part of what we are talking about. Please find it in your heart. I know you are not holding against the church, to forgive the Church of Nigeria, not Anglican now, the church in Nigeria, of that neglect, because it's a very, very bad neglect. And I pray that God will arouse our sensitivity to one another's state and one another's need with time. But the state of our disunity is still what place? When you say, why is this so? The state of our disunity, the state of our empire building. Everybody wants to just advertise and advocate just for himself. That is what has been driving that in that direction. But what we are trusting God, and I think that is something I'm seeing God doing by this. I think two people have said it already, that we can be gathered like this is a step forward. And if God moves us beyond this, that our communication continues. A person you relate with, you become a friend with, in a sense. Somebody has said that even if you hear a music that you don't like, if you play that music continuously, you will dance to it. So that even if there are things that are not pleasant with each other, do you know that our relating together, we erase it in our consciousness and we'll be able to forge together and move on. So I would think what has been the matter is that we have not related enough. So we should be relating, and I think that has been stressed. Secondly, we should also see God help us to demonstrate it in the eyes of all. You know, let me, when I received the call, I saw the missed call of the primate. And I was saying, how can primate be calling me? But if a member was to be around, and he discovered that it was the primate that was calling me, if he has an Anglican neighbor, there is a way that he will relate with that person differently. And so if our relationship begins to be evident, I feel that it will rub on it. So going forward, at least I can say that for those of us that are here, I believe that God is addressing our hearts. And even if it is a small crop, Elijah's servant only saw a very small cloud. I want to trust that God can blow it and it will cover the entire land. And that's what we are trusting God for.
Thank you so much. Please, there are so many questions here that are summed up in what you are holding. So what you're holding is representing quite a handful of questions here. And I want you to just please be very brief and just hit it.
Before I'm brief, I must be honest. I think the primate has gathered very serious-minded people here. Serious-minded people who are also expert troubleshooters. And I'll tell you why. Which is positive. It's good. This question, it says FCS, NIFES, SU, and other denominational campus fellowships have played a key role in raising or mobilizing the youths for missions with a broader view of missions. However, many of our denominations today have started campus fellowship groups that prevents many youths from benefiting from the benefit of these interdenominational fellowships. Valid point, isn't it? This has even been extended to denominational NYC fellowships. How can this be corrected to help our youths? So they are very serious, legitimate concerns. I want to confess that when I was reflecting on what I will share in the first session, I thought, should I raise this whole issue of church denominational fellowships on the campus or not? I decided not to raise it because I decided to pray about it. I took a prayer walk yesterday on that serious concern. And I said, Lord, in spite of our imperfection, do your will, do your work in reviving our campuses. So this is a deep concern, not even for the student ministries, but for the body of Christ in Nigeria. I think it's more of a question that calls us to reflect and to think and to work together to resolve it. Vulnerable. You heard the Baptist, but this is friendly fire born out of love, not out of anything. Dr. Akanji is a very close friend. You heard the Baptist confessing that they have Baptist fellowship. They're on campus, isn't it? Okay, so the Catholics say that confession is not good for your reputation, but it is good for your soul, isn't it? So I confess that Aqua also has a fellowship on campus. Okay, more confessions now. The Presbyterians also have. Lutheran too? And EYN? So I think primates the Lord has given you the grace to convene top-level meetings. I think let's include this in the agenda so that we discuss it, isn't it? denominational leaders discuss it. I believe we can find a solution out of this. So for the person who asked the question, I commend your courage. But this is something that we all need to work together to address it. And by God's grace, what the Baptist leader said, this country has gone through a lot. If this country would have broken and scattered, it would have been long before now. But God has a way of bringing us back together. This season of confusion, by the grace of God, will pass away. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very, very grateful that the things that have been addressed by the grace of God have been so solid. But I also want to say that there are some questions here that if I lump them together, they are saying one thing again, just as those ones are saying. And even if I'm not able to give opportunity for it to be answered, maybe awareness is very important, that as denominational leaders we should be aware. There are questions here that are saying, are we aware of a growing trend among our young people who now have it like a movement that says religion, Christianity, or God is a scam? That it is growing. I have a number of them here. They're saying that it's there. So when we are talking about missions continuing in the next 20, 30 years, what they're saying is that the young people that are supposed to take over the baton don't even believe in God again. Our investigation has shown we have a young, I also had that encounter, a young person in Jos whose father is very committed in the church, connected with me, and the young boy just got to school in one of our schools in the East. What we eventually found out is that the Atheist and the Humanist Society have opened a branch in University of Ibadan, and from there they are recruiting and opening branches, and eventually they got this young boy. So when they gave him the phone, he said, Uncle Justice, I just want to tell you that I now know there is no God. So the issue of doing apologetics and teaching our young people not just to say the creed but to understand what it means and defend is very, very critical if this mission is going to be sustained by the grace of God. We may not have time to address what we need to do, but let it be that this platform is drawing the awareness of our denominational leaders that there is a threat that is coming, that even those that are being reached are eventually being reached again by dark forces. May the Lord himself deliver us from that in Jesus' name. We really want to say thank you so much to our denominational heads. Please can we thank God for them as we applaud. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. May the Lord.
Beaming from the nation's capital, we bring to you the good news through various programming, news updates, worship, and teachings.
The paralysis of sin makes us to be separated from God.
Contact us for your live streaming solutions and event coverage, such as synods, conferences, seminars, revivals, and lots more.